Hi guys, welcome back to my channel Intro to Robo. In my last video, we learned about loops and also made a project using servo motor. Today, we will be learning about different conditional statements used in coding the Arduino and also make projects using them. Let's begin. So, the different kinds of conditional statement are if condition, if else condition, nested if, and if else ladder. The basic thing to keep in mind is that if the condition is true, then the code within the conditional statement will be executed, otherwise it will be omitted. Now, let's move into the syntax. In the simple if condition, we have to first write if in lower case and then open brackets and write the condition, then open flower brackets and write the code and close the bracket. If the condition is true, then the code within the if condition is executed, otherwise it is omitted. Moving to the if else condition. In the if else condition, if the condition is true, then the code is executed. If the condition is false, then the code under the else is executed. Let us now see some examples. Now, in the if condition, I have made this example. First, we will create a variable a and then b. A is assigned the value 8 and B is being assigned the value 7. Now my condition is that if A is greater than B, then in the serial monitor A is greater will be printed. Now as you can see, this condition is true as A is equals to 8 and B is equals to 7. Hence in the serial monitor A is greater will be printed. Now let us see an example in the if else condition. So I created another variable A is equals to 2 and then B is equals to 7. Now the condition is that if A is greater than B, in the serial monitor A is greater will be printed, otherwise B is greater will be printed. Now we can see that this condition is false because B is greater than A, hence the code under else will be executed and this code will be omitted. Now moving to the syntax of nested if and if else ladder. In nested if, there can be an if condition inside an if condition and several if conditions can be used within one code. In if else ladder, if there are more than two possible conditions, then we use the if else ladder. The first condition is written with if and the second one is written with else if. If there are more conditions, then again they are written with else if and then within brackets, and the last one is written as else. If any one of the conditions is true, then the code under the condition is executed, otherwise the code under the else is executed. Now let us move to the examples. First we will see the example for nested if. Now as you can see that first I have created three variables. A is equals to 25, B is equals to 35 and C is equals to 45. Now my condition is that if A is greater than B, now inside the code I have given another condition. If A is also greater than C, then you have to serial print A is the greatest. Then the second if condition is that if B is greater than A, and inside that another if condition saying that if B is also greater than C, then serial print B is the greatest. Now I have used another if condition in the code, which is if C is greater than A, and inside that if C is also greater than B, then serial print C is the greatest. Now amongst this, as only the last if condition, which is C is greater than A and C is also greater than B, is true, that's why in the serial monitor C is the greatest will be printed. The other two is omitted as they are false conditions. Now moving to the example of if else ladder. Now you can see that first I have created a variable A is equals to 25 and then another variable B is equals to 25. Now my condition is that if A is greater than B, serial print A is the greatest. Else if B is greater than A, then serial print B is the greatest. Else serial print A is equals to B. Now as you can see that the first condition becomes false. A is not greater than B as they are equal. Second condition also becomes false as B is also not greater than A, but else as they are equal, the code under the else condition will be executed. A is equal to B. Now as you can see that there are more than two conditions here. This is the reason why we have used if else ladder. Now we will execute the same examples in tinkercad and I will show you how they work. We will also make projects using nested if and if else ladder. So first we will make a project using the if condition. So as you can see, I have taken an Arduino, a green LED and a resistor. I connected the LED to the 8th digital pin and the resistor to the negative of the LED and then connected it to the ground. Now moving to the code part, I have created an integer a, that is a variable which is equals to 6 and b is equals to 7. In the void setup, we will write serial.begin and in brackets 9600. As I told you before, this will start communication between the serial monitor and Arduino. Now I'll write the condition: if a is greater than b, then it will write 8. Now as you can see, because this condition is false, nothing must happen to the LED. Now let us interchange the place in this code. Now we'll start the simulation. Now as you can see, because this condition is true, the LED is glowing. Now we will make another project using if-else condition, that is to determine whether a number is negative or positive. So I'll remove this integer. Now if a is positive, it will be greater than 0. So we'll write the condition a is greater than 0, then digital write 8 high, else digital write 9 high. Now we will attach another LED to pin number 9. If the number is negative, then the red LED will glow, otherwise the green LED will glow. Now let us run the simulation. As number 6 is positive, green LED is glowing as per the code. Now let us make integer a negative and see what happens. Now as you can see, minus 6 is lesser than 0, hence this condition will become false and the code under else will be executed. So now we will make a project using nested if. I actually copy pasted the code, but I have changed the values and the code a little bit. So a is equals to 34, b is equals to 45 and c is equals to 56. If a is lesser than b, then another if condition inside saying if a is lesser than c also, then serial print a is the smallest number. Then another if condition saying if b is smaller than a and also if b is smaller than c, then serial print b is the smallest. Similarly for c, if c is smaller than a, inside that another if condition saying if c is smaller than b, then print c is the smallest number. And as you can see that a is the smallest number, so the first condition is true and inside that another if condition is also true, hence a is the smallest number will be printed in the serial monitor. Let us run the simulation. So as you can see in the serial monitor, a is the smallest number is printed. Now let us change the values and see. Let us make a as 64 and now run the simulation. As you can see here, as I did not put serial print ln, it is printed as in the same line. B is the smallest number. Let me just clear this and print it again. Now as you can see that b is the smallest number is printed. Now we will make a project using if-else ladder and then we will make the same project in real life with real components. Now we will make a project using if-else ladder. So take an Arduino, a breadboard, ultrasonic sensor and RGB. So in the RGB there are 4 terminals. The first one is positive and is for red light. The second one is cathode and is connected to the ground. The third one is blue and is also positive, and the fourth one is for green light and is again positive. The red, blue and green are connected to any of the digital pins. So now we will make the connections. Connect the red one to pin number 2, connect the blue pin to pin number 3 and connect the green terminal to pin number 4. We also need a resistor. Now connect this to the ground. Now our connections for the RGB are over. Now we will make the connections for the ultrasonic sensor. So in the ultrasonic sensor, as I told you before, there is VCC, which is the power and needs to be connected to the 5V. There is trigger and echo, which is connected to any of the digital pins, and ground, which is connected to the ground of the Arduino. Now we will connect the VCC to the 5V of the Arduino. And connect the trigger and echo to pin number 5 and pin number 6. Connect the ground to the ground of the Arduino. Now our connections are done. Now what will happen is, according to the project, as the distance of the object increases, the color of the RGB light will change. Now in the RGB, if you turn the pin number 2 as high, red light will be emitted. If you turn pin number 3 as high, blue light will be emitted. And if you turn pin number 4 as high, green light will be emitted. But what will happen if you turn 2 pins high together? The light emitted will be a combination of both the colors, and when all the 3 are set as high, then the color of the light will be white. This is what we have done in effects ladder. First, in the code, we will create a variable distance, which is equal to 0, and then we have to write this code in order to clear the ultrasonic sensor. First, write long read ultrasonic distance, and in brackets int trigger pin and int echo pin. We have created 2 variables, and then in brackets pin mode 5 output. 5 is the trigger pin. First, we will set it as low, and then delay for 2 microseconds, and then set it as high again, and then again delay 2 microseconds and set it as low. This will clear the trigger pin, and then pin mode 6 input, which is the echo pin. As you can see here, it reads the echo pin and returns the sound wave travel time in microseconds. Return impulse 6 high. Now this will clear the whole ultrasonic sensor. Now in the void setup, we will set 2, 3 and 4 as output, and in the void loop, we will use the if else ladder. First, distance is equals to 0.01723 into read ultrasonic distance, and in brackets 5, 6, and now we will use the if else ladder. If distance is lesser than 20, and you can see here we have used 2 and symbols, and distance is lesser than 30, this distance is measured in centimeters, then digital write 2, digital write 3 and 4 as low and 2 as high. So red light will be emitted. Else if distance is greater than 30 but lesser than 40, 3 will be high, which means that blue light will be emitted. If distance is greater than 40 and lesser than 50, green light will be emitted. But if it is greater than 50 and lesser than 60, both 2 and 3 will be high. As a result, a combination of these 2 colors will be seen. When the distance is greater than 60 and lesser than 70, a combination of 2 and 4, which is red and green, will be seen. And then else if it is greater than 70 cm and lesser than 80 cm, a combination of blue and green light will be seen. And else, the last condition is, if it is greater than 80 cm, then 2, 3 and 4 both will be all 3 will be high, hence the color will be white in color. Now let us start the simulation so you guys can understand, and then after this we will do the same using hardware components. Now you can see this resistance. Now let us increase slowly. The distance is between 20 and 30, so you can see the light is red in color. When it increases 30, it is blue in color. When it crosses 40, it is green. When it crosses 50, it is pink in color. And when it crosses 60, it becomes yellow. And when it crosses 80, it is white in color. Now I have uploaded the same code in my Arduino by copy pasting the code in Arduino IDE. You guys can do the same. Let me show you the component. breadboard, 330 ohm resistors, RGB, jumper wire, motion sensor and Arduino Uno. Now let us make the connections. There's another way of connecting the RGB. I'm going to connect the 330 ohm resistors to the positive terminals, that is the red, blue and green terminal of the RGB. The longest terminal is considered to be either common cathode or common anode. Mine is the common anode, so I'll be connecting it to the 5 volt of the Arduino. If your RGB is common cathode, then you can connect it to the ground of the Arduino. Now I'll be connecting 330 ohm resistors to the positive terminal of the RGB. Now we'll make the jumper wire connections with the Arduino. I'm connecting the red and positive terminal to 2, blue positive terminal to 3 and green positive terminal to 4. Now I am connecting the ground of the ultrasonic sensor to the ground of the Arduino, the echo pin to pin number 6, trigger pin to pin number 5. Now I am connecting the cathode to 5 volt of the Arduino. Our connections are now complete. It is now connected to the power bank. Now as you can see, the light changes according to the distance. Hope you guys liked my video. Please like, share and subscribe. If you have any doubts, ask me in the comment section. Bye.